welcome to our second game of the evening after a lengthy delay. Unfortunately, we're sitting with Overwatch patch day. You know, people trying to get into game.
The perfect
and we have a couple
timing. It's the
players. Yeah,
perfect timing
time.
to kick it off in the new season in the middle of a
Perfect
game.
time to start the entire patch download when the pre-patch has been out all weekend. Love.
Welcome to ZA Overwatch. What's up,
Welcome to
everybody?
But hopefully we will be kicking this game off. We are currently waiting. Myself, I'm Low RSA, and this is Binward Dreamer. We're here to cast this game, hopefully, between RQ Eulogy and Powered Up Possoms, if there's players in game by 9 PM.
I'm excited. Listen, the anticipation. It's been a lot of anticipation. But I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited about just getting back to casting another Overwatch game. I think this is the second time now I'm actually casting the Rage Quit Eulogy guys. The first match they played against was I think it was Hatchlings, if I remember correctly, the team they played against. Kicking off the series, played really well. I mean, it was a dominant win. It was a really good 3-0. Some really great plays. On the side of Rage, we've got Trigger coming in on the tank side. Our 2 DPS players being Owl and Vacancy, and the 2 support players in Deadshot and Parasox. And they are on your screen right there. Trigger was incredible. Absolutely ridiculous game in the previous match that they played in. I mean, the rest of the team as well. They've been doing really well. They're on a winning streak as well at the moment, so they're going to be looking to, coming into this match really confident and hoping to kind of pull off another very confident display and hopefully getting a win in today's matchup on the side of Rage Quit.
I mean, it's great to see them also bringing the width of their roster. Jack not playing in this game, instead Vacancy coming in and filling in for him. Vacancy, a DPS player that was on the Rage Quit Legacy team last, and with the rest of the team that split off from that Legacy team and became Eulogy. I mean, obviously very strong player, very good. It'll be interesting to see how he performs. On the other end, we have Powered Up Possoms, and I mean that's an entirely fresh new team. Powered Up Possoms actually one of the pickup teams that originated at the beginning of the Power Up Cup. Perfect name to just go with it, would say.
Listen, the name, I love the name. The name is great. Powered Up Possoms. I mean, you can't not get hype about that.
I mean, on the roster here, we have Shito coming in on the tank. I do believe we actually have Normie Slayer coming in on the tank in this game instead of Shito in the game right now. Well, currently waiting, but Shito, a player that's played extensively in the local scene. We've seen him play for Pangolin's roster. We've seen him play in the World Overtime roster as well. One of their stronger players coming in towards the end of the Buffalo Cup in 2021. Shows how long that we've been sitting without local Overwatch, doesn't it?
Listen, I've lost track of time. just COVID put everything in just like this blur of years of time, and what is time anyways?
I mean, honestly, I swear, it's still 2020 right now.
Hundreds. Yep.
What's going on? Their DPS line, a lot of experience in that DPS line. Lime Oros, a kind of mainstay in the scene, starting off in that old, I believe it was Overwatch Cubs roster. Eventually making a name for herself in the Risen roster, and then eventually getting towards that the Overtime roster as well, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. You're gonna have to fact check me on that one, chat.
Quite blur on it. That's it. You heard it here first.
You know what? I deserve it. If I don't know where you've been, it's my fault. And then you have Babs as well, a very storied player. He's been on rosters from Calypso to Layden to Team Gaming, I believe, for a short period of time, and now in this Powered Up Possoms roster, a really strong, two really strong, experienced DPS that you're expecting to be really kind of gating this top level. You're seeing, obviously we just saw a match of teams that were functionally very top level. This community, Five Nights being at the absolute top level, and XVG really challenging for that top level, and seeing this Powered Up Possoms team is probably going to be your gate that are going to kind of like other teams at the top level. So I mean, it's going to be up to them today to put up a big performance against our second place finishers, the Power Up Cup.
I was
And I mean,
actually going to ask you. I was actually going to ask you leading into that. Like, we've talked about these two teams, and obviously there's a lot of talent on both sides. But now, when it comes to the money, the big money question, in terms of which side you're predicting to come away with the win over this best of 5. I mean, based on the way you're talking, obviously you're leaning towards Rage Quit there.
I mean, again, it's really hard to bet against a team that's finished so well, and after the performance they put up last week, a really, really dominant performance. And I mean, with the way that they came out against Hatchlings a team that performed slightly better in Power Up Cup than Possoms. You know, it's you kind of lean towards the side of Eulogy in terms of how they're going to perform. But I mean, Possoms has some new players on the roster, and some strong players for their relative inexperience. I mean, we're looking at P5001, who I believe is Potato 5001 in Discord, but P5001 in game is what we'll be seeing and what we'll be calling them. And they're a really strong support player straight off the bat, really, really inexperienced. And we have, I'm gonna have to stand under correction by what their name is in game, but Tlu, I believe, a player that's been playing support for them from the beginning of this year, from the Power Up Cup, and has really put a lot of time into improving. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing them today. We're going to be seeing an old name, a regrettable name, Scars, filling out the roster.
I think I saw in one of the chats, it was Return of the Scars support, so hotly anticipated.
Yeah, a player who's played support, DPS, and tank for his former team, now returning on support in this team. Was the tank for this team at the beginning of the year, but unfortunately scheduling conflicts mean that he's not quite able to fill out that role the same way. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at two rosters that could functionally...
And I do hear we have the first map picked. Yes, it is Oasis. It is coming up on screen right now as sort of the first map that we're kicking off in this. I mean, this is obviously going to be quite an exciting map. I mean, when you look at sort of some of the strategies and some of sort of the technical aspects of this map, verticality is a big one. You know, you want to look at the height. I know in the previous matches I've watched a lot of, Farah is always coming up really, really strong. Creating a lot of intense pressure from a damage perspective, with the height, coupled with the Mercy. Usually, you get the Far Mercy sort of mix. So high ground going to be pretty big, being able to kind of maintain and control the high ground, keep the pressure on, and make sure your team's in a strong position. I mean, what do you think based on these teams? Looking at Oasis, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, Oasis is a pretty tactically diverse map. I mean, you have like a really, really open map in terms of city center, but you also have like really tight space when you're looking at a map like the University stage. It's extremely claustrophobic, favors those kind of rush compositions and might not favor Farah as much. And then we have Gardens, which is a kind of mixture of the two. Very tight claustrophobic sightlines, but at the same time, also great opportunities to play at chokes, to get space around and just like spam out a team.
Oh man, this map is beautiful.
We are heading into our first map.
We are going in. It's such a beautiful map. I was just thinking about the first time I was playing Overwatch, and I was like, man, this is so cool. And then proceeded to get destroyed. So let's see which team is coming in with the A game. Obviously, starting off with Control. I mean, it's always interesting to see how teams approach, the start of these maps, because some teams want to get onto the point right from the start, try to, hold on to that ground and start generating early points. Other teams like to kind of sit back and wait. Rage Quit, if I remember, was a team that liked to do that, kind of wait for a team to feel settled, and then they came in strong and then took control of the map very early. We'll have to see how they start off now.
I mean, we're seeing a big stylistic difference between these two teams here. The side of Eulogy coming out with this Doomfist composition. Trigger, well known for his Doomfist and well known for falling off the map with it. But hopefully we get him staying on today. And the side of Powder Possoms coming out with a really, really tight kind of brawl composition here. Really looking to bunk down on the point nice and early and force the other team off. And that's what they look to be doing immediately here. Forcing Eulogy off, forcing back towards the choke and taking nice early control here.
And I really like to look at the team comp on the Possum side. I mean, you've got the Hunter sort of sitting in the back there, really just popping off from the back, doing quite a bit of damage. We've got the Rhino that's sort of coming in there and trying to make his presence felt. I mean, they've got the points generating. This is exactly the kind of play they want to be in, but I don't know how long they can maintain control of the ground point. Rage Quit are looking to come in and do some damage, but so far, waiting to see if the team can kind of pull through. Rhino's being quite unstoppable at the moment, an immovable force right here.
Yeah, I mean, Reinhardt in the new patch that we've just moved into, actually getting a bit of an HP nerf, less armor and less HP available to him now. So A little bit squishier, a little bit easier to kill, but still extremely dominant. And in the early stage of this game, absolutely showing up, putting complete control over this point in the early stage. And with the Dragon Strike coming out, that should be enough for Possoms to hold on to this point. Trigger having to use the Meteor Strike just to avoid the Rhine charge, manages to pick up the Baptiste. This might be an opening for the side of Eulogy here, which allows them to get back in the fight.
Oh man, look, I mean, obviously, look, we're seeing Possoms feeling pretty in control there. I think Rage Quit started to put a bit of damage. They've still got time, so only 50% on the side of Possoms in terms of points generated. So it really is about Rage Quit sort of coming back, looking at their strategy, resetting as a team, and going back in. Lucius obviously popped his ult off on the side of Possoms, so they're looking quite strong. Reinhardt's health is looking low, so definitely noticing that little HP nerf that you've mentioned. But of course, we have the Queen of Ice, Mei, coming in and putting a lot of work there. But things are looking pretty comfortable for Possoms. Just
big anti-nade here to open up this fight for Eulogy, though. They look like they might actually be about to swing this point. With 75% on the clock, this is the perfect time to do it. Give yourself a fight space, but also manage to get yourself in control. But it looks like the stall coming out from Possoms here just to delay this flip a little bit longer. Give themselves that extra set of percentage, put them at one fight territory to really take over this game. You know, this is all coming out here from P5001 here.
That is such a great play to just stall it out. I mean, getting it all the way to 93%, they're still actually generating points, so things are looking pretty precarious here for Rage Quit unless they get to knock them off the map. Reinhardt's coming back in already as well, trying to keep control of the play. Possoms played that super well, but eventually Rage Quit gets the point. That was close. That was super close. Very, very well played by Lucia there by P5001.
Yeah, really great stall there to actually just maintain their control of points. And Trigger actually having to pop the ultimate there just to get a late pick and start to get his team some percentage on this board. With ults coming in on the side of Possoms, it's going to be a really hard hold for them. They need to space out and get around the scene, not give this Reinhardt the value he really wants to get.
And they're right on the point already, choosing to go in through the side, but so far Rage Quit is holding firm for now as it stands, trying to get the damage in. I see you've got... Oh, wow. Okay, look, Reinhardt did not last very long. I think it's one of those cases where it's very good to take the point, take control, but when it comes down to retake, it can prove quite difficult. And Rage Quit looking very comfortable. It's something I've mentioned already before. They like to let other teams get in and settle. Maybe not all the way to 99% settled. You know, they waited last minute to go in there, but they're now looking pretty comfortable, 51%, and it's about seeing what Possoms can do to get back on the point. And here they go again.
Coming in again, though. Dragon Strike could be devastating for opening up this fight and just shaping it for the side of Possoms, but already forcing them off the high ground here should be really good to help them kind of control this fight. And again, this Dragon Strike coming out, just giving them a little bit of control of the site. But Valkyrie actually managing to kind of stabilize this team. Trigger contesting the point, and the rest of Possoms giving them a little bit of space. Oh, rest of Eulogy giving them a little bit of space to get onto sites while their DPS surround them and really start to put in the pressure. Getting a really nice pick with the tactical visor there. But actually taking out of the fight by the Reinhardt there. Charged completely out. Oh, what a play coming out there from Normie.
Do you know what I'm really loving about these two teams is they're just not backing down. I mean, it's just been fight after fight after fight, and there's always, you know, one or two players left on either side before they have to reset again. Obviously, the point that we're at right now is looking really great for Rage Quit. They're sitting on 98%, and whoa, 2 kills getting on the side of Possoms there. They're looking like they could get the point back, almost past the halfway point. We have Trigger there trying to keep it, but the Lucia ult gets popped on the side of Possoms, giving them all the HP they need to take back the point, and now it's about keeping Rage Quit off, trying to cap it off at the end. 99%, I mean, this is insanely close.
Yeah, and you just think of that stall from P5001 that really opened up the point for them, gave them the opportunity to really swing this round to one fight territory, and that'll be the round going the side of powered up Possoms. Maybe not the way we were expecting this game to go in the early stages, but a really strong showing from this team to take the first round of Oasis.
No, look, I mean, that Lucia play, we're going to have to call that. I mean, that absolutely was probably one of the most definitive moments in that game. Just such a clutch play. It's one of those things you look back afterwards and go, that's what you need to do. Those extra percentages, you know, worked out in the end. It was really close. I think, you know, this is the start of the map, the start of the game. There's been a bit of a stall. You know, it was a delay at the beginning, getting everybody into the server and patched up. So, you know, what I look at this is going, Rage Quit goes, cool, that's okay. Round one's out. We've warmed up. Let's go again. Because it was really close. I mean, that ended up 99-99. And again, a really great Lucio play being the big difference. And then obviously Possoms, I think team fighting was doing really well. You know, the fights were so evenly matched at points in terms of firepower, but Possoms just got on ahead. They got the higher ground. They managed to stay together a bit longer. So it's interesting to see if Rage Quit are going to switch it up, do anything different. We've got the Moira coming on their side. They're obviously looking for a bit of the damage. Trigger's coming on Rhino as well to bring in that force that was doing really well for Possoms in the previous match.
Yeah, I mean, lots of healing coming out from this from this Eulogy side with the BAP Moira as opposed to the BAP Lucio. But it'll be interesting to see if the side of Possoms are able to use this Maywall to engage. But it seems like they're just leaning heavily on Trigger, who straight up gets a 5k into this fight. What is this? What is this?
Unbelievable. We've been talking about Trigger. We've mentioned that he's a great player. Absolutely phenomenal tank player, and he shows exactly why that is the case there. I mean, what a dominant start. And they're really just taking the point, already getting onto the 20% zone, looking very, very, very comfortable with the new sort of team comp they've got going for them on the side of Rage Quit.
I mean, if your tank can put out that much of a performance, why not just put all the resources?
HP buffs for who?
Absolutely. Oh, wow, that is just... Trigger absolutely just taking over these fights. He's just not giving them the space to even execute even an ounce of control right now. And this is what you want to see from a tank player. You had a difficult round, fine. Come into the next round. Just
second.
Put it down,
It's like you
down.
can win the first. You can get the first round. We will get the second comfortably slow. We have said already. Of course, those fights were evenly matched. It wasn't that Rage Quit wasn't playing badly at all in the previous round. Everything was so tight, but it feels like Rage Quit are finally waking up, and the team is clicking. Trigger is on an absolute tear at the moment, and all that Possoms can do is just try to get the point back. They're trying to get a few kills, going for the high ground approach, kind of switch up their strategy. Going through the front door with Trigger standing there is not working off, but here we go. The team fights are coming in. We've got the ult being popped off. May's trying to do the work, but so far Rage Quit are holding on. Just barely.
And they're just not dealing with Trigger. He's just in their backline, causing chaos, causing mayhem, and wow, it's just another pick coming out from him again. It's just like, they come into this fight, they pass really nicely, they take Al out early, and they're just not able to push through the side of Eulogy's front line.
We've got a quick pause that happened there. But do you know what was absolutely phenomenal there in this last team fight there as well? Is actually on the side of Possoms, they actually popped the Lucio ult. So they popped the Lucio ult, and then Rage Quit was still there. Trigger's still there, running around, smacking everybody left, right, and center. Man, I mean, this is a great start for Rage Quit. They're already on 83%. There's a bit of an issue there with players and load shedding. Escom keeping everybody on their toes. So we'll just have to wait and see for the team to sort things out. But yeah, it is on the side of Rage Quit, unfortunately, but they are looking pretty great on a 83%. We'll have to see if they can get their player to reconnect, or if they're going to have to see it out.
Unfortunately, it seems like it's an inverter issue. Parasox, unfortunately, with the delay of the game, and inverter running out of juice.
So I think we are going to be going into this we are going to be going into this in the 4v5. But look, Trigger, the way Trigger's playing, I think Trigger can definitely make up for that.
It's really unfortunate, however. You know, you don't want to see you don't want to see a team having to play 4v5. But unfortunately, you know, with the delay already, powered up Possoms can't afford to wait with battery power and load shedding, an ever-present threat. You know, and you're just seeing that extra man count here. Extra player on the field makes all the difference. Especially
look, I mean, we've got Trigger with his ult sitting on 97%, so it's almost they could do a really, really great big play, one last push. But of course, yeah, with the numbers advantage, trying to retake a point when the team's firmly entrenched on the side of Possoms, it's going to be a little tricky. But there's two ults on the side of Rage Quit, so let's see what they can do. Trigger's been playing phenomenally well. I mean, the team overall has just played super, super well on this map. It's unfortunate that they just had to lose their play due to load shedding, inverter issues.
Big shadow coming out to open up this fight, though. Big ults as well coming out to just take both the main healing output and their main tank out of the fight completely. With the Pharah coming in here, they may be able to exert some control and put themselves in position to win this round.
There it is. There it is. That's exactly what we were talking about. Rage Quit doing exactly what they need to do to keep the team, get the team off the point, use up the ults that they had on the side of Reaper and on the side of Rhino, and they actually pull off a win. That was great. I mean, look, they were coming in super, super strong from that game, right from the start, even with, after the numbers disadvantage. But for them to pull it back like that, they're playing their team comps and their winning conditions perfectly there. I mean, being able to execute that with 4 players against 5, great way to close out the round.
How did they make this work from here, though? Big open
right.
The side
in from 100 from 99% is one thing, but trying to hold on here at the beginning of the match, that's gonna be it's gonna be a big ask.
And they're looking to make that man advantage really, really count. They're looking to put a lot of pressure onto this this team, make it really difficult for them to hold space. Coming out with Pharaoh, coming out with the Echo, the Winston. It's so difficult to hold space when you're already a man down. To just have this as well, the wide space abuse using team, they're gonna want to get into these aggressive positions, but I'm not having any of it. Just putting Limera straight out of the sky, sending her straight back to spawn. And what an opener to the fight. They aren't able to get the res here, and it'll be interesting to see how they develop this fight.
I mean, I think the team comp on the side of Possoms is absolutely just obnoxious. I mean, there's so much pressure on the side of Pharaoh coming in, Echo coming in, Winston jumping in. You get Kiriko that's going to teleport on you, and Mercy keeping everybody alive. I mean, there's just so much in-your-face damage. But, as you can see, you got Rage Quit trying to get onto the point. Obviously, being a man down, they're doing the best they can. But that far is just so much damage. I don't even know if we can get Trigger's Rhino to come in and he gets taken out already. There's just so much DPS. I mean, I think it's very clear from the team com, as you've mentioned it already. Trigger gets knocked off the map, if I'm not mistaken there. From the Pharaoh. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's just a way you hate to see a player in the space there. And I'm actually quite surprised here that we aren't seeing the side of Eulogy lean more into an open space style comp. They can all play very, very split and try and win their... You think maybe if they're trying to isolate 1v1... But playing narrow and bunkered like this, really difficult when you have players... Like, you can see every moment here, they're struggling to find any space, any way to control. Especially, because they're playing with a single support. They have no way to out-heal the side of Powder Possoms. Even if Possoms play a low healing, they still have two supports compared to.
Yeah. No, but I mean,
difficult to get into.
I also definitely think on the side of Rage Quit, I mean, of course, being a man down, they're probably thinking, cool, well, look, this game's probably not going to go away, so let's just kind of, play it out and kind of reset and regroup for the next match. Obviously, this is a best of 5, so even if losing this is not the end of the world, there's plenty of games still good to go that they can kind of come back. And again, everything looked really, really promising based on the previous round. So I think, if on the side of Rage Quit, you're going, cool, let's let this game play out, let's let this round finish, let's finish this first game, and then we come back and regroup because things were going really, really well. Obviously, it's 5v4. It's always going to be a very, very difficult, it's a tricky one to play against, and especially not having that support. Sustainability is massively, massively important when you're trying to retake a point, on the losing side. So, again, I think, look, if I'm Rage Quit, I'd say that's okay, cool, that's first game gone. We've got a ton of other games, maps to still play, and based on everything we're looking last time, they were really getting into their stride. So I'd be pretty confident going into the next match, despite the loss here on the side of Rage Quit Eulogy, with Powder Possum closing it and bringing it home.
Although the circumstances in which they won the map were a little bit, a little less than you would have wanted. Team, it is good to see Powder Possoms in the full 5v5 round. We're able to put up a really good fight now. Take a really experienced roster on the side of Eulogy. They're really showing that they have a lot to show. They have a lot to bring to the table. It'll be interesting to see how they're able to develop past it. Especially if Eulogy are able to get their sub in. I know their sub was still patching the game. I hope we can definitely get that sub in to come in, because definitely you want to be getting that 5v5 action. I mean, the games so far have been really good. They've been really, really exciting. Again, super even at various stages of it. I think the team fighting has been super aggressive. Both teams are playing very confidently. Trigger obviously was really getting into his peak, or getting into his stride there. You saw him get player of the game as well. I mean, he got like 4-man ults at one point. He was coming in and completely just
putting a lot of presence on the map. Both teams have been playing well. I think they've been adapting to each player as well. You've gotten, different characters getting selected at different times, people going for the high ground, people trying to flank. What I love is just seeing teams playing really proactively, not being afraid of one another, and really coming in with their strategies and coming in confidently. So I'm really hoping we get that sub in, because these have been some two really great teams playing some great Overwatch.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, so Eulogy are trying to get their substitutes in. Don't think Powered Up Possoms are going to be willing to wait too long though, especially again, present threat of load shedding and battery power being a consistent threat to every.
Although this is the first time I'm casting with full power, which has been an amazing time for me, not worrying about my battery, because this would have been terrifying me too if I had to worry about waiting for players. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get the sub in, because I really want to see the team slug it out. It has been an absolute slugfest. I've really been enjoying it.
And do you know why I really want Eulogy? No. But I really don't want the Scar's support to maintain. He's going off in chat right now. He's going off in the game chat. I don't want this. Give us some pain. Yeah, I do believe. Yeah.
The joys of load shedding. It's a challenge. I mean, obviously, of course, I think between load shedding and patching on the same day, it was definitely a tall ask for the various teams. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Do we know what the second map is going to be, or are we still waiting for a player to come in?
It looks like they're picking Hollywood as their second map.
Okay, cool.
Hollywood, a map renowned for its big wide open space on that second point. Many teams fail to the gap of, but it's point one also quite claustrophobic. So interesting to see how the space in the. Oh wow, we actually have Numbani back in the custom game pool. If anyone wasn't aware, Numbani has been out of the map pool for quite a while, because it just hasn't been selectable in custom game. So seeing Numbani back is going to be great. Numbani, a map renowned for its oppressive control that you have to maintain of those kind of really function in that map, right? Not a map that you can bait teams too much without too much of an angle to sort of really
Dave, no, your mic's kind of coming in and out there.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if everybody caught exactly what was the conversation there. But I mean, yeah, Blue, obviously you were just talking about Numbani not having been selectable in custom, so coming back is going to be a bit of a little bit of a breath of fresh air into the map selection. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I've had some great moments on this map myself. I always enjoy it as a just in terms of its map style. I know obviously snipers are pretty strong as well on Numbani, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have to see sort of, what are the team comps and what do the players pick. Can we confirm that we've got all 5 players that are coming in on the Rage Quit side?
We do not have 5 players currently. They are still choosing to play this game 4v5. Again, Powered Up Possoms aren't able to wait, because they're waiting for, they said they have they have 20 minutes of power left, so
gotta make it
gotta make it work. Gotta just play with what you have, and unfortunately that does put them at the disadvantage. You do hate to see it. You really do hate it. It's just a situation.
I do think it also means you can just go and nothing to lose, come up with some sort of cheese strat, some exciting kind of plays. Of course it's unfortunate. We definitely would have wanted to see a 5v5 slugfest, as we said. The previous map was a really an exciting one to see them going head to head. But here we are kicking it off. Rage Quit going to attempt the impossible, going in 4v5. We'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, it's gonna be a tall ask. Obviously, on the side of Possoms, they're going for again a lot of pressure on the damage side with a Junkrat and an Echo. Winston jumping in, going in the face as well. We've got Brigitte, which you did mention has seen quite a big buff on this patch, on this new season. So we'll have to see how that impacts their play as well.
I think it's more interesting for me is the fact that Eulogy have decided, you know what, we're not playing 2 DPS, 1 support, we're playing 2 support, 1 DPS, 1 tank, and we're going with So we've got a support for our tank, we've got a support for our Pharah, and we're gonna just put everything into that.
But this is what I wanted. This is exactly what I want to see. We've got Trigger running around, chasing people all over the point, and they're actually starting to get points on the map. They're halfway through trying. They're actually going to capture the point potentially. Oh man, you love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. We have spoken about these teams. They were slugging it out. To see them doing it again, even on 4 players, is absolutely phenomenal. Owl on fire as well. I mean, already sitting on 55% for an ult generation. They're doing work. I mean, clearly putting a lot of damage. Trigger sitting on already just gone halfway on his ult generation as well. The teams are not holding back whatsoever.
Definitely. And I mean, this is the type of thing they have to do. They have to get an advantage early in every fight, otherwise they're going to be pushed out. And so you can see they're playing, they're posturing, they're looking for their moments, and they're going to go in so aggressively when they have their moments and look for the kills here. And as we say that, Trigger coming in super aggressively here, trying to just, you know, just wedge them out of their space, put them under a lot of pressure and give them the opportunity. But not quite panning out so far. The longer the fight goes on, the more you will favor Powered Up Possoms to be able to take an advantage. But Al coming in with the barrage and getting 2 picks early on. That's both their supports down. With both supports on the side of Eulogy still up, it's the Trigger cleanup show now. Coming through to clean up the backline, and now we'll be coming back to clear out the points as well.
Oh, that's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, that's exactly what you've mentioned. The win condition here on Rage Quit is you win fights quickly or you lose them quick. You do not want to play around with them because it's going to take too long and they're not going to win with the numbers disadvantage against them. But, I mean, as you saw there, the Pharaoh having the ult taking off 2 players right out the gate and then Trigger coming in to do the cleanup and keep that pressure, keep the point moving. Rage Quit are playing this phenomenally well, despite everything. Yeah. I think what I also love is having the Winstons there as well. It makes the fight a lot more dynamic. I think Rhino would be a very much more of a progressive, calm, push with the payload, which would be quite difficult to do with a man down. But with Winston, you get to play really dynamically, and you can see that on the map. The fights are going everywhere, happening everywhere. The Pharah is shooting everybody all over the place. Winston's in everybody's faces. It is absolutely crazy right now. Trigger gets another kill as well on the side of Rage Quit. So they're actually doing really well and getting close to the checkpoint.
Yeah, excellent so far for Eulogy here. 4v5, but they haven't lost a fight yet, and they've managed to make an ultimate advantage in this fight, even putting themselves in an advantage to take this fight. Eulogy deciding, or Powder Possums deciding to try and equalize this by by using the Echo Duplicate to get 2 tanks and 2 Primeling Monkeys in the field is nothing to scoff at. That's a lot of HP and a lot of potential to disrupt your team. Eulogy don't seem to mind too much though. They're just keeping on and keeping out the pressure in this fight. They seem pretty content with the way these fights are flowing so far, and the look of it seems that they're just happy to put the resources into Owl and wait for them to be able to win the fight just through this constant damage output, and Trigger to just go on rampage after rampage, putting out so much work in this fight. 60% to his next Primal Rage already here.
And he had just popped
a tremendous amount of damage.
Absolutely phenomenal. You know what, I do think on the side of Possums, they might be, you know, getting sucked into the gameplay and the pacing of Rage Quit. Rage Quits want to be messy. They want to be playing all over the place, and Powered Up Possums are matching them everywhere there. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, it's all about the objective. All the kills in the world won't mean anything if you're not going to stop the payload. You know, but having said that, it is one thing to be pushing the payload and doing it a man down. We'll have to see if they can slow down Powered Up Possums when it's going to be Rage Quit on the other side. But so far things are going really well. We're about to hit to the final zone. We're about sort of 24 meters, 26 meters and counting. Oh, sorry, no, we've gone past 26 meters. Probably got around 5 or so left. Things are looking really good for Rage Quit to even be able to push the point all the way to the end. The fights are messy. They're absolutely chaotic, kind of all over the place. And as you've said before, they're very much playing around Owl, you know, as on Pharaoh, trying to make sure they can keep the dominance there. And so far doing incredibly well. Owl already on 65%, 66% of an ult generation as well. So could be saving that for one big push if need be, but things are looking smooth.
Yeah, I mean, looking into this fight again, it's a situation whereby, you know, it's just they have to maintain. If they maintain this constant pressure, they put themselves in such a good position to win. And I mean, it finally looks like Powered Up Possums are starting to stabilize. That will be their first fight win. They've pushed it within 10 meters of completion.
Yeah. Without
losing a fight. 4v5. What an absolute achievement from Rage Quit's Eulogy here. put themselves so well positioned to be able to push through the rest of the game. I mean, you see them coming in here. They have ultimates coming along. They have this Kitsune Rush. They have this Barrage, and with that using that to build their other two ultimates, it's still a big possibility to win this game out of this. Babs managing to get 2 with the Rocket Barrage, the enemy Mercy, and himself.
Worth it. Absolutely worth it. That's all that counts. It's about sending a message. That's clearly what it is there. Trigger's getting very close to his ult as well. He'll be looking to want to pop that off to make sure they can push a point right towards the end.
Ooh.
Things are stalling slightly though on the side of Rage Quit. Is not looking good. We've got Babs who managed to take down the Owl, and Owl is absolutely the key player. But Trigger comes in with the ult nonetheless. He's trying to make it happen, trying to push work, put out some space, but it's just not working. As you said before, I do think Powered Up Possoms are getting into their stride and remembering they do have an extra man. They should not be losing these fights or playing them scrappy. Stick together, stick on the payload, and you'll find that it's not going anywhere. So things are looking painfully close, but so far on the side of Rage, trying to push it so close, but it's getting further and further away. Unfortunately, Trigger's already used up his ult. Owl's only halfway through. They've got 1 minute and 12 seconds left to try to make something happen and try to get back that momentum they had early on.
You can see they're putting a lot of pressure into Vacancy as well, thinking if we get the Mercy out of this fight, these fights become very winnable, as we have our Pharah pocketed and their Pharah not. No supports on the side of Eulogy here. They're going to probably just fall so they can engage one last team fight.
Babs doing absolute work there, and you know I am one that's biased to a battle Moira as a battle Moira main myself. We are loved all over from queues all over the world. Great to see P5001 coming in there with the Moira. I think just making sure again to bring in that sort of stability, bring in that damage, be a bit more dynamic in the way the team's playing to ensure they can contain the side of Rage Quit. And unfortunately, Owl doesn't get much from that ult that he tried to pull off there and actually gets taken out. And Vacancy soon follows through as well.
If they're quick enough, they may be able to get one last team fight, but with Deadshot soon to follow, yeah. They've lost too much to be able to re-engage. Maybe they get a touch, but I'm not even sure about that, especially with Owl falling on the re-engage here. That's it. 2 points and nearly a third. Really, really good from Eulogy to be able to show that they're able to contest it. They're able to still make their individual skills show, even amongst a 4v5 situation. And I mean,
no, look, I'm happy. I'd be happy if I was on the side of Rage, but I would not have expected him to have done so well and as quickly as they did right at the start. Obviously, at the end of the day, though, they're playing a man down, so it was just going to be tricky. But that was a great showing from them. You know, actually seeing Trigger there on the ball, on the hamster. I remember now from his previous match, he had an incredible hamster play. So it would have been great to see what he could have done with the hamster. You know, with all the chaos that was happening on the fights. You know, the Winston was working for them until it wasn't. You know, until Possoms started to group up together, realize, hey, let's just stick to the payload. We can make sure that you know, they don't push it any further. But now it's on the other side. So we've got Possoms now up there trying to push the payload. We'll have to see what Rage Quit can do to slow them down. And I think that's the strategy now, right? It's about slowing them down. You know, you're not going to be able to stop them entirely, especially being a man down. But can you disrupt them? Can you slow them? Can you actually chew up time? Because that is going to be the win condition for Rage Quit Eulogy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing though. So the third point of Numbani is notoriously it's a point where dreams go to die. You know, it's the team can get there with 5 minutes and still be held. It's a chaotic point, and it's a very tight claustrophobic point, which can make it really difficult to complete. But from the side of Eulogy, you know, you'd say with the lack of space there, it makes a lot of sense why their Winston and their Pharah stopped being at third point. But coming out onto their defense here, they've got that space. There's a lot of space with this map to play with. So I'd say, you know, I'm looking if they can sustain their fights here and get an early pick, they put themselves in a position to win every fight. As we saw them win every fight up until they hit point 3.
Yeah.
And so that's what they need to be looking for.
The Lucia pick I actually really like as well on the side of Rage Quit. As you said, they need to be winning those fights. Lucia gives you that nice, you know, sustainability over time. Maybe not as fast of a healer as a side of you know, a Mercy or Karita, but you can get that constant healing over time. And if you're going to do those group top fights, you're going to keep moving around. Again, he's there to stall. We saw how great the Lucia play was on the first map. You know, that one round that they won on the side of Possoms, saved it with the Lucio play for the stall. So obviously Rage Quit are trying to be a bit of disruption and make things difficult, but it's proving quite tricky for them at the moment. You know, Babs is on an absolute tear with the Pharaoh there. You know, been absolutely difficult to keep track of or contain in the previous side. So for them now to be kind of capping the point and about to move the payload, Babs is going to have a lot of freedom. But then, as you said, you know, they're going to have a lot of freedom, a lot of space to move around and make the most of their Farm Mercy combo. But as we get towards that final point, which they're going to have to reach, it's going to start to close up, and potentially Rage Quit can use that to their advantage to keep things stalling.
Rage Quit actually taking this fight even shorter-handed than they already are. Al's still coming back from spawn and only getting to the fight now. Now the team coming in at they're a full 4v5, full as fight as be. It'll be interesting to see. They have switched back to their former comp, the Mercy for the Pharah here, and the Winston again, siding with the D.Va and the Lucio just ain't it, and deciding, you know, we're going back, we're going aggressive, we're putting out this pressure. And from the looks of things, looks like in the early showing, seems to be going fairly well. Although it does look like Eulogy coming back into this fight somewhat, or Powder Possum coming back into this fight somewhat, and it's just a 2v1 now, with spawns coming back for the side of Powder Possums. Now a 4v2 because of the res coming out from Scars there and the bubble used to enable it. But Al managing to get a really, really valuable pick here to keep their team in the fight. And that's a huge barrage there to get the support again. Put them in a position where they can now potentially be devastating in in this fight. Trigger's still stalling out this payload.
He's absolutely that is so well played on the side of Rage Quit. Again, they're being disruptive. They're managing to stagger those ults and to make sure to keep them working. I do think on the side of Possoms, though, they're also just again getting baited into fights and not focusing on the payload. It was something we did notice in the previous round, you know, where Rage Quit were able to just kind of push it up because Possoms are looking for those fights and not focusing on stalling the payload. And on the other side now, they need to make sure they can keep it pushing. There were a few moments in the previous those previous fights with all of the chaos where the payload just wasn't moving, and that is exactly what Rage Quit are going to be wanting to do. They want to get into those fights, they want to make them chaotic, super disruptive, and get everybody running around, and they are doing a phenomenal job of that. Trigger's already got 71% on his ultimate regeneration. I mean, he's about to pop it off, get it ready again, and he's about to pull it out and stall even further. Things are looking great on the side of Rage Quit, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, this fight has been going on for, it must be 2.5 minutes. And
it really has been. It has just been a slagfest.
And Eulogy have just been juggling this point. They've given little bits of progress here and there, but they've maybe got the payload around a corner where Eulogy have been fighting and juggling this payload and putting out the pressure. And Cassidy, no phenomenal. Thank you, we don't know her. What an absolute statement. What? He got that off?
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
That is the second time now that Al has gotten 2 kills at least with the use of his Pharah ult. That is absolutely great. And he gets down the other Pharah on the side of Possoms. I mean, Rage Quit could not be playing this any better. Genuinely. Yeah. I mean, they're doing exactly what they need to be doing. To the point that, is that Trigger going to their spawn?
Trigger's touching spawn doors.
A player down, starting to spawn camp the opposing team. That is surprising, to say the least.
Phenomenal. Trigger showing absolute just alpha tank energy by just going and touching their spawn doors, even in a 4v5 scenario. You just don't see it. You just don't see this level of just absolute audacity, and you love to see it from a player like Trigger, a player at the top of his game, absolutely just showing off here, and Al just cleaning up while Trigger just stalls them out. You know, while Trigger just goes and hard engages them, Al is able to just put out so much pressure, so much damage. And third pick for the fight here, looking for the 4th right now, and it's just such a good maintenance.
Leave the cam on Al. You'll pick up all the kills that you need to. Absolutely. There we go. And as I say that, gets the team kill. 1 player left, not able to finish it off. Absolutely. I did tell you, I did call it. I called it. Caster's Curse going in reverse for the first time for me ever. I love to see that. No, look, Rage Quit are playing well, but you have to start asking questions around Possoms. What do they need to do to switch it up? You know, they're obviously trying to do these kind of fights and assuming that their firepower is going to help them out, but unfortunately it's not going that well. Moira pops off the old P5001 trying to do something there and get the point moving. They've started to get that momentum now and get back control of the payload, but things are not going as smoothly as they should for them. You know, I think they need to kind of look at the team comp and go, do they need to do something different? The Pharaoh was working, but not working so well at the moment because unfortunately, Owl is just not being able to be stopped. He's an absolute menace. He's getting kill after kill after kill at the top there. So what do you have to do to deal with him? We've got the Bastion that they're going into with Babs, and speak of it, there you go. A change in pace, a change in characters, and change in strategy. And you've seen Possum back on point, pushing the payload comfortably with all 5 players on the zone. That's what they needed to do. I think they got caught up a little in the fun of the fight, the craziness that came from WageKit, but it's good to see Possums going, hey, let's remember, we're here to push a payload, we're not here to get kills.
Yeah, I mean, the solidity that they're playing now with this Bastion makes it a lot harder for Trigger to be as sustainable as he has been during this game. And I mean, you see it coming through for Deadshot here as well. He's just under so much pressure. On the side, though, they've got 1 minute 23 seconds. If they play their fights right here, which, with an early pick on Trigger, you maybe think that that's a little bit dicey, but if they play their fights well, they put themselves in a position where this is 1 and maybe 2 fights. And that puts them in a position where it's still very winnable for the side of Rage Quit if they're able to take this in with unity, able to take this aggressively. And again, we have to see the energy they brought in the early stages where they were playing hyper aggressive and putting themselves in a position where Al can come in and get value like Al is getting right now, taking out the Bastion immediately in this team fight, dropping extremely low, and the Mercy dropping as well, but still alive, still in this fight, still able to spam out. But it's getting awfully close to that yellow box of victory, 3.95 meters here. And will Eulogy be able to hold this now in the 2v5 here? So difficult to put themselves in a position to win this, even with Al getting picks. 3 meters, 2 meters, 1 meter left to go here. And powered up Possums able to clutch it out in the absolute last moments.
That I really have to give credit to Rage Quit there. To be able to pull off an exciting game like that, Al absolutely deserves the player of the game there. I mean, again, just phenomenal kills. You know, really being effective with the use of his Pharah ult there, and then also still containing the other Pharah. I mean, the switch from Babs going out of Pharah into Bastion was absolutely a great play. I think that evenly helped them sort of to stabilize as a team and to make sure to do the job they needed to do, which was get the payload across the line. But Rage Quit, that was great. I really have to give them credit. They played the chaotic fighting really well. They used and managed their ults super well, staggered the ults as they needed to make sure they could really maximize the amount of time they kept powered up Possums off the payload.
No, absolutely excellent from the side of Rage Quit there in the game. Powered up Possums at the moment finding that little bit of energy to get them that result, and Eulogy putting themselves in a situation where they're gonna have to come back and reverse sweep this team now. We could be in for a long night of Overwatch still, honestly. And with 20 minutes 20 minutes until some team or some players get load shedding here.
Everything to play for. That's what you call high. That's what you call high stakes, because we've got production there as well. So the stakes are high for Overwatch South Africa here to determine will we make it past the 10 o'clock. The load shedding, the looming danger of load shedding. But look, having said that, obviously at the end of the day, it is 2-0 on the sides of Possums. You know, they did make the extra man count when it needed to the end, and then we're going into the next match. I think also on the side of Possums, it might be a little bit difficult to also kind of be playing at that high of a level, knowing you've got an extra man advantage. Well, I say extra man, you've got the extra player advantage there. So you know, it's also hard for that team to kind of rise up to that challenge and, you know, really kind of putting it 100%. And not at all to say that they haven't been putting in the work, but you know, mentally it does obviously have that little thing of we've got an extra player, we should be fine, we should be able to grind it out. And of course, it took them going, hey, let's quickly just settle down. They're kind of killing us in the air. Let's get a Bastion, let's get the right picks, and let's get the payload across the line. And so I'm sure they'll be looking to make sure they can get a nice, quick 3-0 and really utilize it. Because I think the longer the game goes on, you know, Rage Quit were really getting into a really steady rhythm there, and it took quite a bit to get them out of that.
I mean, definitely. Like, it's a situation where now that they've got their extra player, I think maybe this is winnable for the side of Eulogy. I mean, considering how close Nambani was with 4, imagine how close Gibraltar was with 5.
No, look, we'll have to see. And I think also, just again, the teams have just been going toe to toe. I mean, there's been no holding back whatsoever. And I think you've definitely caught the team sometimes remembering, hey, we have strategies, we have roles that we need to be doing. Let's remember we've got to, you know, play those as opposed to just the slugfest that it's been for the last few rounds.
Correction on my previous statement, we're actually going to Dorado, it seems, rather than Watchpoint Gibraltar. got a little bit ahead of myself in the lobby. And we've gone into a Bahrain game, which means I think half of the lobby is about to disconnect.
We will have to see how it goes. Again, it's always exciting. It's never a dull moment for production either. Always being kept on their toes. I think grey hairs are the common theme on the side of production. But we're about to head into the map right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit sweaty here, and our producer has not been put on all spec. Give me a moment.
There it is. We are.
We love an NA host.
We love it. We're keeping it interesting. High stakes match. So for those of you watching there, we are about to pop in right now. It is, if you have just joined us, we are on map 3 of this incredible best of 5 between Rage Quit, Eulogy, and Possoms. Possoms are obviously up 2 maps to 1. But we've got Rage Quit, who have been having to play with a player down. But they've now got their 5 players. So I'm excited for this. Look, I do think with all the momentum and all the craziness, and you can see everybody bantering in chat, getting ready to slug it out. I kind of favor Rage Quit on this. I think they've had a lot of the momentum. I would be really confident as a team if 4v5, the games have been that close, and now we've got our 5th player in. We'll have to see if they can keep up the momentum they've had before, because it has been incredible seeing how everybody's been playing. I mean, just no holding back. And this is a map I love. Dorado, I really enjoy this map. Again, a lot of high ground that you can start to fight off with, but at each point the map layout starts to change and you've got to adjust your strategies. So plenty of versatility available here as well.
And from the side of Eulogy here, we're seeing a little bit more of a conservative comp, a little bit more let's hold space, let's play slow, let's give our DPS time to do some work. It's that type of comp. We've got this D.Va and the 2 hit scans playing in here. And we've got a traveling Moira heading into their back. No, he's in their spawn. This is not the Overwatch I signed up for. I am not here for DPS Moira Overwatch, man.
To see running queues for everybody. This is how you play Moira. No, really, that is an incredible flank. And this was exactly what we were talking about on Dorado. Like, this is a map with a lot of versatility, a lot of different angles that you can take, and you just saw it being played to perfection there on the side of Rage Quit with the Battle Moira coming in strong.
This is
Season 4 is going to be great. The queues are going to be horrendous as we have Battle Moors coming in all over. Nonetheless, though, things are moving. Powdered Possoms are trying to get the payload going. This is always one of the tricky spots that I always feel personally in the map, and of course, I stand to be corrected. It's hard to kind of break out of the beginning, but once you get through, it starts to get a little bit easier to push a payload. But this always does feel like a bit of a choke point when you start it off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic hold here to do a situation where your tank jumps down to point, jumps up, jumps down, jumps up, and just continuously keeps the point juggled so it can't move very far. While you sit with this long-range DPS line, kind of pummel damage down. It's a classic strategy, one that's been used for season upon season of Overwatch and Overwatch League, and seeing it executed in our local scene as well is always a wonderful thing. Ooh, but that's a nice opening there from BTS. Open it up.
Look, the Hunter pick I like because I do think as well, I mean, sniping does really well. I mean, of course, you can see right happening now with the Ashe. I was sitting on Ashe, been sitting on that zone, and already we've got 4 kills that they would have had there. I mean, pushing Possoms all the way back to their base, to their spawns. That's just how dominant Rage Quit are looking at the moment. High ground, again, if you can't manage to take control of that high ground, it becomes really difficult. There's just no places to hide. Ashe is just sitting in the back, popping off over and over again, and this is the same owl that we saw with the dominant performance on Pharaoh. So to see them just being given a lot of space, I do think there you go. You're going to need to have a Winston going in, disrupting them, moving them, shaking them off their play because they're feeling very comfortable at the moment on the side of Rage Quit. So I do think Possoms needs to push it up a bit more. There you go. That Ashe just completely putting too much pressure.
Wow, they got the double kill there to open up this fight from the side of the Ashe on the side of Eulogy. Al once again doing so much work. I mean, it's great to see, like, surviving that last fight, getting into a strong position, and coming up behind them, popping both his forts. It puts you in a position where your team is not really is not really coming into a fight with much challenge. No sustain on the side of Powder Possoms. They were able to control really easily.
I
expending
definitely do want to
ults
see.
here,
I mean, I
Possums
do
to
want
get
to
into
see
the fight.
Possum. Sorry, I was just saying I do want to see Possum try to just switch it up a little bit though, because I do think they've had to kind of grind their way through every meter to win, and it's a bloodbath and time's running out. So you've got to think to yourself, can they maintain this level of play the whole time? You want to be able to make them feel a bit more disrupted. I think Owls had too much space. The Diva ult there now. Oh my word, gets 2 kills as well. Trigger. They've just been given too much space. I really think Possums have actually just kind of taken their foot off the gas here, and we're not seeing the slugfest that we saw in previous games, and it's showing right now because Rage could look really, really, really comfortable. Unfortunately, Possums weren't even able to get it over the first point. So things looking really, really good on the side of Rage Quit. As I said, I think Possums again maybe a little slow to kind of get into gear now that they're playing against a full team of 5 players. So I think they just gave too much space to Eulogy. I mean, Owl was just sitting there on Ash, and we saw it over and over and over again, just getting pick after pick after pick and being able to generate ult percentages really quickly.
Yeah, it's really, really nice to see Eulogy being able to get in control of the game where they've been under so much struggles. I mean, this game has everything going against it. They've had connection issues. We're currently sitting on a US server, I believe, so everyone's on high ping, and we're sitting with we had a player's power die, and the player's trudging on regardless, powering through, and Eulogy starting to come around that bend, come around that corner, gets into a position where they're able to put themselves in a position to take control of to put themselves in the first step to reverse sweeping this game. I mean, with 10 minutes left until load shedding.
Yeah, 10 minutes to reverse sweep. The dream is alive and the dream is real. No, we're about to kick it off now. So it's to be on the side of Rage Quit Eulogy, who are going to need to push the payload now. And we'll see if Possums can give them a taste of the same medicine that they were getting earlier. The side of Possums, the comp is an interesting one. I mean, I think May obviously makes it with the close ranges and being able to use the corners into your advantage. Makes it quite difficult again, trying to stall. Reinhardt has done really well for Possums in the past, so seeing them back on that as well, we'll have to see if they can kind of keep the point, keep Rage Quit contained. But so far, there it is. Owl and Jack coming in with 2 early picks, giving one player advantage, and an Owl coming with a 3rd kill. Now we've got and a 4th and a 5th, and that's a team kill if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yep, there's still one more person alive on the side of Possums. That's a pretty strong start for Rage Quit, wanting to set the tone the way they ended it in the previous round. They don't have far to push it either as well. They just need to get past to the first point. Sure, that was a strong start by Rage Quit. They said, we are here for this reverse sweep by 10 o'clock. We
Yeah, right. Reverse sweep by 10. We believe.
Listen, if you're going to do it, this is as quick as to do it, right? Keep it to a 1-point game. So we'll have to see if they can pull it off. But yeah, no, really, I mean, that was just a strong showing there by Rage Quit. Quite comfortable again. A lot of the momentum's on their side. You've got sort of Possums trying to do a last stand to kind of keep the Rage Quit off the point, but not to be the case. We've got them trying everything with their Rhino, staying on point, getting absolutely melted, unfortunately. And there's Rage Quit. Rage Quit finishing off strong there. I mean, that was, their first time again since the beginning playing on a, five players on a team. So it's great to see them at full force. And it showed. It really, really, really showed how they executed their team comp there.
I mean, they've been able to really come back and play with their 5 in game really, really well. Completely stabilized, completely dominated that map. Really, they were just in complete control of high grounds that entire game. They were just in complete control of those high grounds. They were in complete control of the map, and there was just at no point did Powder Possums ever look like they were in a position to take that round back. They weren't in a position where they were able to put up a fight, to put down their feet, tell them, okay, we're winning this. They got the progress onto Fountain, but eventually they weren't able to come back into it. Unfortunately, this is where we're going to have to call it. It's unfortunate, but, as we all are affected by load shedding, so is our producer.
Yeah, no, look, it is unfortunate, but having said that, it's been a couple of entertaining maps. Despite being a player down, I think Rage could really came in and put on a show. They came with the right strategies, did what they needed to do to kind of try to get to their win condition. Obviously, we get to see it now when it all comes into full force. But also, unfortunately, you have to make sure you get players are patched up and ready to go as soon as possible. Of course, Possoms would also want to be able to see this one through, but this is the nature of being in the beautiful country of South Africa. We've got to work around. The production and just around everybody's really availability. But still, that was a great show. I think there was some some great Overwatch. I think teams have a lot of benefits and positive to take away on both sides. Even on the side of Rage Kid, it was something we had mentioned in the previous map. Playing against strong opposition, can they make sure they've got their strategies and put those in place? And they've shown that. I mean, I think they can really go toe to toe with all of the teams that are currently in this competition and really put on a great show. I mean, to be able to do what they've done with the players they had and on those maps, I'm really impressed, and I'm really excited and hoping to see more of both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, definitely we want to see these teams going toe to toe. We want to see the side of Powder Possoms grow and build on the strong foundation start in this game. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see it through. That's until next time.
Yeah, no, look, that was great. But it was a great night of Overwatch. I mean, we got to see a lot of casting as well, which is always great for the scene. I had a great time. Blur was actually amazing. For everybody that does know me, you can find me by now, Dreamer, all over. That is me, and I hope that I'll see you next time.
Yeah, for me, you can find me Blur_RSA on Twitter, and our producer is ZA on Twitter as well, amongst other things. I don't know where else. Okay, everywhere is the Peach ZA. Apparently my mic is really bad tonight. I will have this fixed by next time. I honestly blame Peach for all of this. Producing.
There it is. I think that's the note. That's the note we end the stream.
I think we cut there.
But great, everybody. Have a great evening, and I'm sure we'll be back for some more ZA Overwatch soon.